Music City Comics, Episode 1, Afterlife with Archie. Hello, and welcome to the maiden voyage of Music City Comics, your number one podcast for creator-owned and lesser-known works. My name is Drew Van Genderen, and I will be your host. If you like what you hear today, do yourself a favor and go online to www.musiccitycomics.blogspot.com. On that website, I go into new series that deserve some attention and old series that really did not withstand the test of time. At this point, you may be asking yourself, why am I here? And what's a comic book? You're here to find out about books that you might not have previously known about, or books that are already out that you only know of by name, and works that, quite frankly, don't get the exposure that they deserve. As for that second question, bad news. If you don't know what a comic book is, this podcast might not be for you. So either Google what they are, or check out a different podcast, such as Serial, which I've heard is very popular right now. Now then, if you would like a comic book or a graphic novel mentioned on this podcast or on our website, then shoot me an email at musiccitycomics@gmail.com. You can also shoot me an email if you have a personal work that you would like discussed on the show, or if you have any questions or critiques. Once I get more used to the uploading schedule of these podcasts, I'll be able to tell you about works that are coming out in the near future so you can get stoked. On that note, I would like to point out that every book that I discuss on this podcast is a book that I found quite enjoyable, and if you didn't, that's fine. However, I'm not going to bring books on this show that I don't have good things to say about because there's enough negativity in the world. Now that that's out of the way, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this episode. And that's Afterlife with Archie, Volume 1. Occasionally, I'm going to have guests on this show talking about the books with me, and today, for the first episode, that's exactly what's going to happen. For this review today, we're going to be joined by Lauren Rantala, who is currently drawing and writing the indie comic book 20-Nothing. We're going to start by talking about the art in the book and the story in the book, and generally what we liked about it, and a little bit about the author and artist. And once we've said everything we can say without giving too much away, we're going to go into the actual details of the story, and it's going to get spoilery, so we'll warn you before it happens. I'm not 100% cool with this format of giving a spoiler walkthrough, so in the first few episodes here, we're just going to kind of get our footing straight. But if I were listening to this, I would expect to hear some changes in format in the next episode or two. So bear with me while I figure all this out. Okay, thanks. That being said, let's discuss Afterlife with Archie, Volume 1. Afterlife with Archie was written by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, who has also written Archie Meets Glee and Stephen King's The Stand, and it was drawn by Francesco Francavilla, who has also worked on The Black Beetle, Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as the occasional movie poster. I'm joined now by Lauren, who I mentioned earlier, and we're going to start talking about the book. Say hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Yeah. All right, so the story of Afterlife with Archie, basically, Jughead's dog, Hot Dog, gets hit by a car. And he brings the dog to the only person he knows who can help, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, who does some crazy black magic and brings the dog back to life. However, the dog is not feeling... It's not its usual happy self, and it ends up biting Jughead, and you can see where this goes.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole thing. It's a really interesting take on the Archie characters. It takes a lot of people who we have known in the past and puts a different spin on them, and it also adds a bunch of tropes to the zombie horror genre. I'm going to have so much editing to do. Man, have fun with your Archie and Scandal. I'm going to...
It all goes back to Archie.
That's what it always comes back to.
Scandal featuring Archie.
The story uses a lot of characters who you know pretty well. It has Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, the Blossom Twins, Reggie, pretty much anybody who you could think of. And I think that the addition of Sabrina the Teenage Witch is really cool. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, after this series came out, actually got a spin-off series called The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is currently on its first issue. I have a review for it on the website I mentioned earlier, which is musiccitycomics.blogspot.com if you'd like to check that out. And that's also written by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa.
Oh, okay. I liked it. It was definitely, coming from me reading Archie growing up, like just finding them on grocery store racks, the tone of this was so different because everything is so much darker. This is punny, but it's night and day. A difference from the regular Archie.
Let me ask you something. When you heard that Afterlife with Archie was a book, did you have any idea of what it was going to be?
I always go into comics the same idea, and it's never right. I don't know why I haven't just squashed it in my mind yet, but I always think that when I hear childhood comics are coming out with new things now, I think it's people my age with my same exact sense of humor and wanting things to be funny. Like, I would never kill off Archie, but that's in a different series. That's not this.
That's true. That's another series. That doesn't happen here. At least not yet.
So when I read things like this that are more, I go into it like, this is going to be awesome. Zombies are going to, and you read it and you're like, oh, my heart. Oh, this is like so different than anything I anticipated.
What it was going to be like going into it either, I knew very little, and as soon as I saw the trade, I picked it up. But like, I was kind of worried that it was going to be the old Archie comics, but with zombies.
You were
somehow.
Worried that it was.
I was worried. Yeah, like the thought of Jughead and Archie walking to the malt shop and then running into a zombie and having to deal with it isn't as interesting to me as this basically a drama where all this stuff is actually happening to them and it all has consequences. Like, it adds a finality to character deaths and what happens to Riverdale. Mm-hmm. I thought, anyway.
I feel like it's like watching a drama today versus a drama from, like, the 50s. Or even sitcoms. Like, Leave It to Beaver was obviously not as in-depth of a character study as something like Scandal.
That's true. The American classic known as Scandal.
We are all admitting our guilty pleasures of Scandals tonight.
So there you have it. So I guess that the real conclusion here is
that we love Scandal.
Is that Afterlife with Archie is just like Scandal.
That's it. We got it. Nailed on the head.
That's nice. So I thought that the art was a big change, obviously, from the regular Archie comic book. The characters are drawn in a more realistic way, but in a way that still makes sense. Like, in the regular Archie books, they have big eyes, and, I don't know, I'd say that the women have very hourglass figures.
Oh, yeah.
But then in Afterlife with Archie, Francavilla draws all the characters in a more realistic setting, and I think that the facial expressions that he draws really shows the fear that they're feeling, as well as any of the happiness or any of the feeling like they've almost made it out.
Yeah.
It adds to the horror, too, though, because I think that a lot of the colors that he uses, they really concentrate on using the darks of the page. Like, there's not a ton of light to be used.
That's the main thing. It's just the coloring is so different. Like, you see pages in it, and it doesn't even look like Archie.
Yeah, it's true. And that's kind of what's so scary about it, is it kind of dements the characters. It dements the characters into something that you never really thought was possible for them to be.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at Veronica right now, and she looks like a fierce, like, superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks ready to fight. That's true.
And she's in, like, a bikini.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, as long as we're talking about Volume 1, I should also talk about the fact that in the back of the book there are a number of extras, including a bunch of the covers from when the book was originally printed, as well as a couple additional sketches. So there's a lot of really cool features that make this a good read, and it has the issues 1 through 5 of the story, and right now the actual book, if you were to buy it on the stands, is only up to issue 7. So there's still plenty of time to catch up with this, but if you want to collect it in trades, it's going to take a little longer. Getting Volume 1 is definitely a good start. I don't want to pull back the curtain, but let's just say this is a zombie story, and characters who you do like do die, and sometimes it's graphic, and sometimes it's not, and if you're a fan of Archie, then I'm sure you'll like this, and if you're not and you just have a very fond memory of Archie as a character, then this might not be for you, because it will make you think of him in a different way. I've looked at this, and then I went back and I read like a Jughead double digest, and I can't look at Jughead the same since I've seen him as a zombie eating other characters in Riverdale.
Bummer. I wonder why. It should be easy.
Yeah, it should be. You're right. The other person who it builds on a lot is Mr. Lodge, who is Veronica's dad. I don't remember his name. They kind of show his... I'll go over this more in the spoiler section of this podcast, but they really show his, I guess, his resourcefulness and sort of his paranoia and just how ready he is no matter what the situation is and how much money he has where he can have all these preventative measures in his house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting in that aspect. So do you want to do spoiler stuff now?
Yes, I'm waiting for it. I'm holding back.
Okay, so if anybody would not like this volume spoiled for them, then you should change the podcast. Yeah, get out of here.
Scram.
Go on. No, then you should probably turn the podcast off now. Okay. Now that those who have not read this fine piece of literature have left, we can finally discuss
Let's get in it.
the meat and potatoes.
Get in it.
Let's get in it. So, let's do a spoiler walkthrough of the series first. Ideally, whoever's still on here has read this book at this point. But if you haven't and you just want to know everything about the story, then that's what this is going to be.
Weirdo.
So yeah, what a weirdo. So let's dissect this story a bit. So, like I said, Hot Dog is dead.
Hot Dog is dead, guys.
It's finally happened.
R.I.P.
And Jughead has Sabrina bring him back to life. Sabrina, to do this, uses dark arts, and when her aunts, which you might remember from the TV show, find out about it, they send her to another realm. And I know what happens to her, and it's not very good. But anyway, at the beginning, that's pretty much all you see of her. She gets sent away, you don't know where, and it's actually a pretty creepy scene, because she gets, like, tied down and then teleported to the nether dimensions.
Yeah.
After that, it goes to just showing off Archie's school life and how everything's still pretty good. Nothing bad's happening. It's Halloween. All getting ready for the Halloween party. But Jughead's looking a little sick. So after school, Archie goes to see him, and Hot Dog is underneath the stairs to the house, and he's growling, and he sounds very unfriendly, which is very uncharacteristic for the creature. So Archie goes inside. He hears that Jughead's not feeling well. He goes up to his room. And Jughead is, like, on his deathbed. He's clearly very ill, and his arm is all bandaged up, and it's pretty rough. So him and Archie exchange a few words, and he says, you know, you're my best friend, blah, 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 last words sort of thing. Pretty much after that, Jughead kicks it. He's dead. That's it. Kaput. So, Archie goes to the Halloween party, where, of course, it's all about Archie, and all the ladies want to jump on it.
Jump on it.
When I say all the ladies, I really just
Betty
mean...
and Veronica.
Yeah, Betty and Veronica. So.
The important ladies.
The most important ladies in Riverdale.
Yes.
When who shows up? Jughead.
Ugh.
And he's looking...
That Jughead.
He's looking intense. Like, I've seen a lot of drawings of zombies and depictions of zombies, but, like, this is good.
This is not mess around.
It's violent and disgusting, and his body's...
gross.
It's pretty gross. His body's all kind of contorted, and his mouth is, like... It looks like it's... I know it's just the way it's drawn, but he's, like... It almost looks like it's seamed shut. Like, it's really nasty. So he comes in, and he sees Ethel, who is really glad to see him, and she is dressed as Snow White, and she gives him a nice big hug and says that his makeup looks great, like they always do in the horror movies. Then she gets bit, and it's implied that she got bit in the jugular and she dies, and her being Snow White, they had to have it so that she's dropping the apple that she was chewing on. Mm-hmm. Dramatic!
And the single tear.
Yeah,
the one tear falling down her cheek.
Yes. She's like, why would you do that?
Why would you bite me in the jugular? That's so mean.
When, in reality, I feel like eventually Jughead's just going to get so angry at her advances that he's going to do it anyway. So...
God, Ethel! Get out of here!
He's, you know what? Okay.
He's so mean to her.
Let's take a second. I have a comic book from, like, the 70s, and it's a Jughead issue. Mm-hmm. And he goes through a lot of extremes to hide from that woman.
Really?
Like, yeah, the covers used to be, like, a little comic strip on the front. And so there's, like, him with an old-time camera, which at the time was current. And Archie's like, hey, man, it looks like you're picking up a new hobby. And he's like, no, it's the same old hobby. And then Ethel walks around the corner. He throws the camera
blanket.
blinder over his head. And he's like, hiding from Ethel. And I was like, that's kind of cruel.
Poor Ethel.
Yeah.
So. Also, can we go back a second and talk about how sometimes dead is better? And did we learn nothing from 80 scary movies? Because
that's true.
That's exactly what I just pictured him walking to Pet Sematary. This is Pet Sematary.
This is Pet Cemetery. You're
Archie
right.
World.
That's true. That's This
right?
is almost the exact same plot as Pet Sematary.
Thing. I'm telling you, the whole time I was reading it, I was like, well, at least I know what would happen if Archie was starring in Pet Sematary.
Listen, Stephen King.
Listen.
I know you're among the tens of listeners that we have. So it's
Buddy.
really important that you catch this thing right now. Because there's a lawsuit, buddy. You can make millions here.
We found it.
Or you could not. It's up to you. You already have millions.
That's true. Let Archie have his moment.
Let Archie... Yes, it's true. And I like the author, so don't sue him.
Yeah.
Alright, so Ethel gets bit. That's it. She's dead. She probably won't come back because she's dead.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, foreshadowing. And then it goes over to a scene at Pop Tate's Malt Shop.
Pop Tate's.
Or Sody Shop, or whatever.
They're still going. This is, like, based in now, like 2014 slash 2015, I guess.
It's true.
It's still a malt shop.
Yeah, and it goes to two other women in the Archie universe, Nancy and Ginger, who have been in a couple skits, and, like, there were some scenes where Betty and Veronica have gotten mad at Ginger, I think it was, because she's trying to move in on their man. Mm-hmm. Which in itself is a weird sentence, and they're
Sister wives.
Yes, sister wives, and they're kind of just talking, and they're considering their options and about being ladies who like other ladies. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice talk.
I feel like one of them is in love with the other one, if I'm remembering.
Yeah,
correctly.
that's correct, and it's interesting.
Which is Ginger in love with?
Ginger is a Caucasian girl with red hair. Of course. And Nancy is a Hispanic woman with black hair.
But Ginger loves Nancy.
Ginger does love Nancy. They're not sure about it because
it's Riverdale.
Nancy...
It's
Riverdale, and Nancy does not think her parents would approve of it very much.
Gotcha.
But
they have bigger problems.
They'll probably never find out, because who comes in for a malt? A zombie.
A zombie. Give me a banana split.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think that they would want.
A banana split.
Yeah, pretty much. After that, it goes right back to the school dance, and Jughead goes right from Ethel to trying to eat Veronica, but luckily Archie in his superhero costume, Lady Killer. I thought this was kind of funny. Like, they do it in every movie, every time. But after he eats Ethel's jugular and throws her to the ground, Archie punches him in the head and throws him against the wall, and he asks, "What are you doing?"
That's the first response.
It's like, this man is clearly a little ill.
Clearly ill. You have the nurse.
Betty's the nurse.
Casts. That's Betty?
Yeah, it's a Halloween party, and
That's
Betty's
right.
the skanky nurse.
Betty.
Getting them looks. Alright, so...
Is Veronica, like, in a cat suit? I'm
pretty sure Veronica is Vampirella.
That makes sense.
It would make sense. They subdue Jughead. Someone's like, we should check on Ethel. She's dead.
No, she's not!
Or is she? She comes back.
Looking like...
Yeah, looking just as scary as Jughead. And I'll include some pictures in the post for this.
Because Francesco, hats off.
Yeah,
This
Francesco
is really
Francavilla
good.
is really good. His stylistic choices are great, and a lot of his panels, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, only use a couple colors, and that adds to the intensity a lot. And to the tone of each character as it shows it. It's like dramatic lighting almost. Mm-hmm. Well, Ethel's a zombie now, so they have to fight her. No big thing. Alright, so yeah, more characters that you love turn into zombies. Mr. Weatherby and the teacher.
Weatherby. The teacher. That's
remember
really
her
her
name.
role, though. She was the teacher.
So yeah, fighting zombies. The whole time that this is going on, Veronica is recapping all these incidents to her dad, so that at the end of the second issue, it shows Veronica saying, "We need to let all these people in," and it's pretty much everybody who survived the school dance, which are Midge, Moose, Jughead, or not Jughead.
No, not Jughead.
He's dead. Betty, Veronica, Reggie.
The thing that upsets me the most with Afterlife is Jughead's not there. And you know Jughead would be the one comic relief to this. And I'm wondering if that's why they took him out first.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I guess he makes the most sense. Because I guess Afterlife with Archie, you would kind of think that Archie was the zombie, the one who dies. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it also makes sense because Jughead has the appetite of 26 Americans.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
How many
So they're
people
like,
does he want to eat?
They're like, what can we give him? What role can we give him in this where he could still eat as much as he wants? So they turned him into a zombie.
That makes so much more sense.
Right? It's all thought out. Very clever.
Very clever.
Author. So everyone's at the Lodge Mansion now. Not everybody's pleased about it. They're trying to figure out a way out. And Archie wants to see how his parents are doing, which is a reasonable response. So he finds a secret grate in the mansion and escapes out while Betty waits for him to make sure that he gets back safe. Meanwhile, the people who are still alive and kicking are trying to make light of the situation by swimming in the Lodge family pool.
You dumb
Yeah.
asses. When Veronica came in with that panel and was like, come on, guys, we're all going down to the hot tub. I swear it's fine. I was sitting up in bed reading this, and I know I borrowed your copy. I threw it.
You threw
I
it?
was so
What?
mad at Veronica. Threw
Man.
it down on the bed beside me.
Or else
But
I'd
I
be
was
ashamed.
so angry. What a terrible decision. I was so mad.
To go swimming?
It's just like when you see those really terrible horror movies, it's like, there's like, oh no, I hear a noise, but I'm only in my underwear. I'll go outside with a stick and see if I can poke stuff around.
Well, wait a minute. I think it's a wise choice. Here's why. If anybody gets bit by a zombie in a pool, they're clearly going to be okay. Because a pool has chlorine in it, and it'll just clean out that wound.
That is not true.
That's-
that is not zombie logic.
Right?
No.
Like, well,
No
I mean,
way.
everybody knows that chlorine it cleans everything up.
Let me bleach your wounds.
What could go wrong? All right, so
All right,
they're
let's get
swimming.
back.
Yeah, that's enough derailing.
Sorry, everybody.
We don't get paid by the minute or anything. Then we go into the relationship of Midge and Moose, who is a muscle-bound jock who went to the school, and Midge is just a pal. She's just been around. And I don't mean been around. She's just been
Which is
around the
great.
school. She's just someone everyone knows. And
She
sounds
is.
awful.
There's no specific character definition to Mitch,
Yeah,
really.
it's
It's
true.
just like, she's a brunette high schooler.
Yeah, she's like always on Moose's arm, and sometimes it's hinted that they're dating, and sometimes it's not. So they're just hanging out, and they're snuggling it up, and they're kind of trying to survive this whole thing. But it shows a close-up on Midge's hand, and what's there? A cut.
Okay, I like the tiniest scratch.
She should get in that pool and clean that out quick.
Go for a swim. A little dip.
So Archie gets out of the sewer that the grate led to and decides that he wants a malt
At Pop Tate's?
at Pop Tate's.
But what does he get at Pop Tate's?
He gets flames.
Fireballs.
Fireballs. Pop Tate is serving malt in hell.
Yeah, that's really what that panel looks like.
I should
Welcome
also point
to
out,
Pop Tate.
welcome to Pop Tate's. And I should also point out, he's not really looking for a malt. They decide after that, I don't know why, to go back to good old Nancy and Ginger hanging out, talking about.
It opens at Pop Tate's, and I think that's where they were.
That's true. They got right out. Yeah, that's right, because this takes place right after they talk about how they had to burn Pop Tate.
Yeah,
burn Pop Tate's place. Then they find a motorcycle. Oh, it's Pop's motorcycle. Pop is like a 400-pound dude. No, that's not true. That's rude.
He's up there.
He's a portly old man.
He is. You picture what you think Pop Tate looks like?
Yeah, his
that
name's
is
Pop
Tate.
Tate. It's true.
That's Pop Tate.
But luckily, he had a sick Harley.
He had a
And
sick hog
a
outside.
hog, and Ginger decides to hotwire it. And
Ginger's so badass.
Yeah, right. And Ginger and Nancy just go on the road.
Honestly, if I was anybody in this issue, I would want to be Ginger and Nancy.
That's
Because
true.
they're so smart. They're like, bump this. We are out of town.
Bump this.
We are out of here.
That's true. And then they leave. They're like, let's go check on our parents, then get the hell out of Dodge. And they leave. Meanwhile, back at the Lodge Mansion, people are still swimming, talking about how great the water feels, when up above the bedroom that was, what was it? It's like The bedroom that is on the surrounding area of the pool, where Midge and Moose were staying, has a window that shatters as two bodies fall into the pool. Who is it? It's Midge and Moose, because they're both zombies now.
And Moose as a zombie?
Yeah, he's a strong dude.
I would not want to picture that.
He's as strong as 5 zombies. Easy. Probably.
So we've got one zombie that can eat 26 other zombies. And then a zombie that is as strong as...
And a zombie dog somewhere. He's around. He's gotta be.
dog.
Good old hot dog.
Hot dog.
So Archie's going around town trying to figure things out. He finds the mayor. She's a zombie. Whatever.
What else? It's fine.
People are trying to get out of the Lodge Mansion. It's whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Archie finally makes it home. And he finds his dog Vegas. Vegas! Alright, so this issue
tore me up inside.
Yes, I believe this is issue 3 of the series, and it's pretty intense. Okay, so in this issue, it starts out with flashbacks of when Archie got Vegas, and this is probably everybody's favorite issue of the volume. Almost of the series. I heard number 6, which isn't in this trade, is really good. But it shows Archie getting Vegas, and their sweet dog boy love.
It made it sound like Nambla or something. I wish. Is that
Take that how you will.
Gross.
Man's best friend.
There you go.
So it shows Archie getting his dog, and then it goes back to the present, and his dog Vegas leaps out of his house just as Hot Dog is about to attack him. And then for the next couple of pages, the story is all told through Vegas's point of view, but it's all done through text boxes. It shows a bunch of great moments that he had with Archie, and then it shows what he's thinking as he
takes the bullet.
As he takes the bullet, basically, and he has to take out Hot Dog. And what really got me is one text box where he just says, "My life for yours," and I was like, oh, shit. I was like, Archie doesn't even know.
There is this panel of his eyes, of Vegas's eyes.
It's a sad one.
It's basically him giving puppy dog eyes to Archie and being like, "I'm doing this for you. I love you so much." And there's blood. It'll tear you up.
It's pretty rough. But of course, you all already know this because you've already read it if you've made it this far.
Yes.
All right, so Vegas saves Archie. Archie finds his mom. His dad's a zombie. They try to escape, and then the book goes into, it hinted at this earlier, but there's the Blossom twins, and it's kind of hinted that there's kind of an incestual relationship between them.
It's kind of weird.
It's a little uncomfortable. Like, that's okay. So, if you want to add zombies to the Archie universe, that's cool.
It's weird enough. Like,
yeah, it's weird enough, but, like, it's cool. And if you want to make Nancy and Ginger lesbians, then
I could see that, like, from the series.
Good on you.
I could see it because you don't know a lot about them.
That's true.
So that could be possible. The Blossom twins, I always was like, you guys are a little too close. And after I read this, I was like, no.
No, thank you.
No, thank you, sir.
Yeah, great. There's even more redheads in this book than we originally had.
That is the issue at hand.
It is. Then it goes back to Archie and his mom. They escape from his house after Archie has to take out his dad.
With a baseball bat.
And it's pretty rough. And then they do another friggin' montage page where he's, like, beating the crap out of his zombie dad, and there'll be panels where his dad, like, takes him to a baseball game, and they got balloons together.
Fair.
Yeah.
He's teaching him how to shave.
Teaching him how to put up his tie. And then that's it, and it's bad, and then before you know it, bad gets to worse. Vegas is now a zombie.
Zombie dog.
So all that sweetness from before is dead!
Ugh.
And the text boxes, which were like, "I love you, you're great," now it's like, "Kill me. Eat food."
Yeah.
Alright. They get out of town. Archie, and by out of town I mean back to the Lodge Mansion. Archie and his mom. They drive over there. Meanwhile, Hot Dog catches up to zombie Jughead, and Jughead is now more or less in charge of all the other zombies, and there's like some sinister sentience to him, and now he also has Vegas at his control too. So he's slowly amassing a zombie army. He's probably going to take him to the Lodge Mansion, but who knows? What's he going to do? So then we get to the last issue of Afterlife with Archie, Volume 1, which starts out with Smithers, the Lodge butler, just going over his experiences with the Lodge family and how it's been in his family for generations to take care of these guys, and he has a good amount of loyalty for them. He was one of the first people to see Veronica. It's kind of touching, and it really shows how he feels about the Lodge family. Archie is now back at the Lodge mansion, and we also now have Archie's mom, Ginger, and Nancy. It's getting pretty crowded. It's then revealed that Reggie was actually the person who originally hit Hot Dog and more or less caused all of this. He's feeling a little guilty about it.
He brought down an entire town, but he's just feeling, he's got the gloomies.
Yeah, and it goes into an interesting thing, because then Kevin Keller comes in, and Kevin Keller he's the first outed homosexual character in the Archie universe. Like, before this series started doing stuff with Nancy and Ginger, Kevin Keller was out, and he was kind of a big deal. Like, and that's in the regular Archie universe. It carries over into this, and it's just interesting because it kind of shows Reggie in the comic books has always been kind of a jerk, but then in this, it shows him taking a whole new level to that, and part of that is grief and guilt, but then, like, at some point, he starts making fun of Kevin Keller for the way he is. He calls him a pervert and stuff that you would expect out of a douchebag character, but it's still kind of startling to see it again from an Archie character.
Archie character, yeah.
It's just a really controversial scene, I feel. It's only 2 pages, but it's just a little fight where Kevin Keller's trying to help him out, and Reggie's just berating him, more or less, for his choices. And I don't know. It was a very
Keller
interesting
gets in a sweet punch.
Yeah, he does get in a sweet sucker punch.
You see it and you're like, yes, Keller.
Get you some.
Yeah. Okay, this is so terrible, but there's this one panel in issue 5 where Betty is trying to console Archie after Archie has just maimed his father with his baseball bat next to these pictures of him, like, teaching him how to shave. And Betty's like, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. And Archie's, like, holding her, and he's like, Betty, I killed my father! And it's so dramatic that it's kind of funny.
It's true, and Betty, it's kind of weird, because Betty's holding him in, like, a hush child position.
She's like, no, I know your pain.
And he's like, the boys pushed me at the park today.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, I killed my dad!
She says some nice things to him, but more importantly than that, she kind of swoops in.
She does. And it's weird.
Yeah, it's hinted that her and Archie do some smooching in this scene, which is a little out of... I can't believe it's happening. So yeah, that happens, and of course, guess who sees it? Veronica.
Which also really made me so angry when I saw that there was still a Betty, Veronica, Archie dynamic happening while Archie had just murdered his father, and there's zombies running around.
That's true. Like, there's a little bit going on.
Guys.
Yeah, you can't be mad at 2 people for consoling each other when this is happening. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you went in the room, instead of staring at these people having a moment like a creeper, you could probably join them in their consolement. Yeah, their lovemaking.
No, I thought for one issue, I would see Betty and Veronica, like, try to just, like, come together for a second and, like, not think about a boy while, hey, the whole town's burned down.
Yeah, and I mean, what Afterlife with Archie does is they really do play down that Betty-Veronica dynamic. Like, there's not as much of that going on. Like, there are a couple scenes that are kind of, alright.
They just make it weird. It's not,
they
like,
do make
fun.
It weird.
It's not funny or anything. It's just like,
yeah.
Oh, ooh.
Ooh. It's just as uncomfortable as everything else in this series.
That's true.
But uncomfortable isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially not in this book.
Yeah.
It's just something that adds more detail. Alright, so to backtrack a little bit, when all the kids escaped from the pool that Zombie Midge and Zombie Moose fell into...
And didn't burn off their zombie wounds, I wonder...
Yeah, I guess the chlorine... There must be chlorine-free. I don't know why it wasn't working. So when all that happened... They actually closed up the pool over them, and it has a metal grate over it, and Reggie, in all of his wisdom and kind of consolement, because he had a little bit of a thing for Midge, decides that he might try and open up the pool, which will, of course, let those 2 zombies out, and that's just bad news. But then he looks up, and who's at the glass windows surrounding the pool? The zombie army, led by Jug Dead.
Oh, hey!
Yeah. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I'm a professional. But yeah, you can see where this is going. The zombies get in, including some from the escape hatch that Archie was trying to get out through earlier. The whole gang has to leave the Lodge mansion. They find a way to sneak out, and they go off into the distance. They don't reveal where they're going to go or how it's going to happen, just that the second volume is called Escape from Riverdale. And that's it. That is the first volume of Afterlife with Archie. I think the second one comes out in... who knows? The book itself comes out on a different schedule than most books because the artist has a very unique style that takes a lot of time, and the writing is... I can understand the writer needing some time, and he also had a couple things happening in his life that meant that the book would take a little bit longer. This isn't a limited series, it's an ongoing series, and it will go on for X amount of issues. They haven't revealed if it's going to end at any point in time. Probably as long as sales stay good, it'll still be put out. If you want to check out this series, you can buy the first volume, which is a soft cover, at $17.99. It's probably less online. Or you can also start getting the Afterlife with Archie magazines, which have started getting printed. These are oversized magazine copies of the issues that also have some random horror comics in the back. The first issue was printed a couple weeks ago, and they're $4.99 an issue, so it's a pretty good bargain. Do you have anything else to say about Afterlife with Archie?
Nope.
No? No, we covered it. There's zombies. Childhood characters die.
I just wanted Jughead. I needed the comic relief. I needed it.
Does that mean you won't read the second volume
of
of
this? I totally will. I'll just cry at all of the... They're so sad, these scenarios. They know where to hit you where it hurts with Archie because they know what you loved as a kid. They know what you read.
That's true.
So they know who to kill.
That's true.
To make you just so sad. And they weaponized nostalgia, basically, in Archie.
So now that we've talked about the book, let's talk a little bit about what we've learned today. Number 1. Chlorine can cure zombie wounds. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Archie is basically Scandal.
Mm-hmm. Archie is the new Olivia Pope.
And number 3, if my dog had text boxes, I would love her more. Oh. Instead, she's just a sausage. a sausage with legs. All right, so thank you very much for listening. This is obviously going to be a much more polished process. It's my first time, guys. Give me a shot. I would like to thank Lauren for co-hosting with me. If you would like to check out her comic book 20 Nothing that I mentioned earlier, you can find it at Etsy. Just go ahead and search 20 Nothing comic, and that'll pop up for you. It's a very reasonable price, and it's a set of true and relatable stories for people in their 20s.
I'm forcing you to live my life in this comic book, basically.
It's true, she is. But it's all right. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
As I mentioned earlier, if you like what you heard today, then you can go to www.musiccitycomics.blogspot.com and read more about what I have to say about things. If you'd like to contact me, please shoot me an email at musiccitycomics@gmail.com. I can also be reached on Twitter at JustDrewVG. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you guys next time.
See you next time.